cordon bleu, and then went on for my master's for, I have an MBA in finance. All of this kind of interweaving into my current work of what I do as not only an indigenous food chef, but then also I have a nonprofit called the Ceviche Collective that focuses on urban indigenous wellness, mainly focusing on birthing traditions, supporting postpartum families, helping people, helping people learn about food, medicine, seeing it as medicine, and then also the relationships between the plants, whether it be herbs to use for healing, for salves, tinctures, teas, things like that. We're now providing more food support to community members around COVID through our indigenous food care packs, doing the fresh produce with local farmers, so we're actually able to pay them what they deserve to then help feed the community. And then continuing on either virtual or in-person teach-ins around foods, about medicines, and things like that. So, yeah. Yes, it is a lot. All right, so back to the orange. Back to the orange. So these are basic ingredients, and I'm adding some of these are not going to be in your packs, but they're very easily accessible. A lot of processing on my part, but a lot of chopping, but it's all worth it at the end. And I'm going to start with the ceviche because I want the acid of the lime juice to sit with it for a little bit before everybody could try it to really get that flavor. So to this I'm adding, how are we on spice? Everybody like spicy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I love spice. I usually get a lot of feedback about it being too spicy, but these don't actually smell spicy at all, which could be misconceiving too, but I'm gonna add, and then you could also play with your recipe. So I'm adding some diced jalapenos here. We have our diced onion.
An exact measuring there, isn't it?
It always traditional. You could always adapt it. Normally I do, but when I make big batches, it's always eyeballing. Yes, the recipe you have has some measurements, but of course it always varies depending on the size of the cauliflower, depending on the size of the tomatoes, and the size of the, everything. And then we have our cucumber. Can I get some, you want to help me mix up there? There's some gloves over here on this side. Cannot forget, for me, the most important ingredient, cilantro. I love cilantro. I add it to everything, but I know there's people that, don't love it as much as I do, but you could always adapt that. You don't always have to add the cilantro either. It will change the flavor a bit, but if there's any ingredient on the recipe that you just don't care for, you could adapt it to something else.
It's part of just normal ceviche, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only difference is the base as far as for ceviche. We want to add, it's usually done with seafood or something, but that's the only difference, the only adaptation. And I'm used to making big batches of this, so you can never really have too much of it. It usually holds really well anyway. You could prepare it even the day before and it'll still sit really well. If anything, the lime will help solidify some of those flavors even more. And then I'm adding pepper here. And then I'm adding in our lime juice, which you could either, depending if you have time to squeeze the fresh lime. You also have I have some not from concentrate lime, or whatever you have on hand too. You could use, some people use orange juice even to add that the acidity, the lemon. For fresh ceviche, though, if you are using seafood, this is where you would want to use lemon versus the lime, because the lemon actually helps cook. The acid of a lemon is different than the acid of a lime. So flavor-wise, you can't really tell, but the lemon is what's actually cooking that protein. So you want to make sure that if you do have raw ingredients or raw protein ingredients, you want to use lemon instead of lime. I use a lot of lime, just keeping in mind for a lot of our people with alkaline diets, lime is okay versus a lemon is a variance there. I think the more lime, the better. So we're gonna add in another 2 cups. So for this tray, we're using about 4.5 cups of lime juice. We're gonna add more salt also now that we added our acid again. In this batch, in this tray, that was 3 cauliflower heads. So if you have a party, this is perfect. You could just take the whole tray, the tray with you. Get some utensils. Oh, we actually have them in the back there. Grab it. And then we'll let it sit a little bit. How's it on salt? Need more salt?
I think it's good on top.
Good on salt? Okay. Very simple, easy, and like I said, it holds very well. So you could have it, if you consume animal proteins, you could easily combine this with anything. Usually, depending on the spice, I would be cautious around kids or maybe those who can't have that acidic level. But you could always adapt it. If you want to be cautious with the spice, I would say you could also have it on the side, and people could add their chilies later. But to me, it's like that's part of it. That's part of the experience. It's the chili aspect. So that's always awesome.
And how long would it stay good for?
I would say probably up to 3 days max. Yeah. You could definitely make it ahead of time if you're planning on attending a party and taking it, make it the day before and it'll be perfect. Yeah.
Now, does the acid from the lime juice interact with the foil container?
No.
Would it be better to make it in glass or something?
That's where, not with the lime, but for the lemon.
For the lemon?
The lemon. I would not make anything or even seafood. The lemon, you want to be cautious because it does interact with like metal bowls. So try to use ceramic or any type of glass when it comes to that, because it gets that metallic taste. It extracts that from the container. For the lime, it doesn't affect it that way. Yeah. Thank you for that.